Hello. Alrighty. I am just working on some pieces tonight. Let's see if I can. Get this so we can chat and I can bead at the same time. Alrighty. I'm working on these little links that kind of have this like barbed wire feel to it. I made them the other day and then I forgot, just like a day ago, and I forgot how I made them. So I'm like, okay, I better try and fool around so I can remember. I have been remiss on YouTube. I mean, after being active for years, I think, and then during COVID, we were super active. This past year, we were hyper focused on making sure we were going to make it through another year. So oddly, the last thing I thought about was YouTube videos. But again, another odd thing was it kept like, it was stuck in my mind that I wanted to teach. So it was kind of a frustrating year, having all this information I wanted to share and not be able to put it anywhere. It's kind of nice to be here. Not kind of, it's extremely nice to be here. Multiple reasons, so that I can be, because it is so healthy and it is so rejuvenating. Man, I hardly beaded this past year. I thought it was bad during COVID, but I did not bead this past year. Do you guys bead? Do you guys? Having a protein shake because it's really late at night. It's like 11, not that late, but late enough that I shouldn't be eating too much sugar. So it's chocolate peanut butter. So it tastes pretty good. All right. I'm making some eye pins. Can't remember what size. Right there. Now all of these like wrap-in tabs, I don't know if you know this, but they're all slightly different in size depending on the mold, the maker. So I rarely try to let people know what size I'm on, because even within the 6 that we own, each one is a different millimeter. So I can't even follow my own instructions if I say do it on jaw number 1 now. I cannot keep up with all the changes in the tools. So I think I'd rather you guys learn the basics or just watch and ask questions so that you have really good, strong foundation that then you can do all of these things without specific lengths, gauges, that you're able to adjust. I mean, I really want the creativity to continue into future generations where it's not based on specific lengths. Everyone can just be creative and do something. Holy smokes, I am having the worst hot flash right now. One moment, I must put the air right on me. I had a change of life this year. So I'm finally at the point where I can lead my own whale pod. They say that when killer whale females go into menopause, they become the leaders. Well, if they feel as fierce as this, like when you start heating up, I can imagine why. So this bracelet I am making is with Jasper from Australia. I don't know. I think we've sold it in the store a few times. And my last stash, I kept a bunch for me. Anna went with us on this trip, and she and I were like splitting the ones we wanted, and I'm finally using mine. All right, I just learned something, and I'm going to share it with you guys. When you make this component right here, which is just a doubled over loop, like making a split ring, well, what I learned is that the wires will want to pull away from each other. Like it just, you can't help it. But if you want to keep it tighter, like this, where the space is tighter, you can't start, I'll do one more. You can't start the loop at the end. Okay, let me show you. Like a jump ring, you normally would grab the end and start rolling it. Well, you should not do that. I think I'm going to start rolling it from here, so that this tail is the one that's going to be the wrapping wire. Okay, so that is going to wrap over both. And then we'll just trim this one right up there. And then there is no pulling of this part here, because when you do it with just the last end, it can't help but when you pull this as the extension wire, it wants to yank this away. That's interesting. I did not realize that. And then you have something to hang on to like this when you have this tail right there. Hello, Shamika. How are you today? Is it evening for you wherever you're at? One of my friends in Spain is, they're 12 hours away from us. And so I always have to remember that at midnight, my time, he is having lunch. And then another of my friends in the Philippines, she is in the middle of her day right now. So with YouTube, I never know where everybody is at. So let me know. California. Okay, then it's late, girl. You must be a late night person. When I was younger, I used to just be amazed at senior citizens that would wake up at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning. I'd be like, and they'd tell me, oh, I just can't sleep anymore. And I was like, what? How can that be? I've always been a late night person. Then when I got into my 50s, I started waking up really early myself, and I was like, what is going on? I really, really like this component. I really, really do. I think I'm going to make a video. I'll do a short and just stick it on YouTube so that it's out there. I'm going to call it I don't know, I was going to call it the barbed wire link when you have work in the morning. Good night. You have a restful evening, okay? In Japanese, I was just in Japan, it'd be oyasumi nasai. So this link, I had like a little piece of wire extending, a little bit dangerous, so I don't know that I would do that. But at that point, it did look like barbed wire, which is pretty darn cool. I'll stick that in here. I'm going to try and finish this bracelet with you guys so I can go to bed feeling quite accomplished. This has been sitting here on my table for only like 2 or 3 days. But since I haven't made anything for myself in such a long time, I'm like, I want to keep going. Okay, so that loop is here. Oh, this is how you do an eye pin. Oh no, I didn't hammer this one. So whenever you work in soft wire, you definitely should hammer your pieces. I'm going to pull out my bench block and I'll do that. So if you're like really organized mentally when you bead, then you can just do all your eye pins at once. And then notice that I know that this loop here is about the length or the width of my finger. So I'm going to use that finger as a measuring device rather than, so just know your body's parts and how it relates to sizes. Okay, I can make my next one a little smaller so I don't waste wire. I love working in sterling, so I do keep all my scraps. I'll just roll this till it's super tight. Crank it back. I think I can trim off a little bit more. Roll it. Shake it. The bead is moving, so I think I can, I'm gonna roll it just a little bit tighter. I like it when my eye pins, they don't shift at all. I can't get my cutter in there, so. Oh. There we go. Straighten it out. And I have 2. And I think for this bracelet, this is like, what, 4 inches right here? Ooh, maybe 3. This 4 to 8, 4 inches. So 3 beads is 4 inches. So I probably need another 2 beads, 1 more. I'll do 1 more. I'm trying to be all organized here and do all my items first. Do 1 more eye pin, and then look at these. I don't know which ones I like the most. My original idea was I was going to make a full bracelet, just maybe like stretchy cord or something. But now that I'm only using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 beads, I have to rethink which ones are my favorites. I love the pink and gray ones. These are natural agates from Australia. So like they have red and shades of green and gray. So for this particular bracelet, I picked the pinkest ones. So the last time I cut too much. So I'm going to cut a little shorter. Let's see. I'm always afraid of cutting too much. Right, and then there's no going back. Ooh, look at that. It's perfect. So that's 4 inches, and I have 3 more. I think that's it. So I'm going to grab my hammer. I don't want to leave dirty marks on my beadboard. That's the Kleenex. That is not like a jewelry technique of anything except keeping my bead mat clean. So I'll put this on the edge. I hammer it. It's like a 2-headed fretz hammer. One is slightly angled and one is straight up and down. I'm gonna take the straight up and down one. You can hammer straight up and down, or you can do like a little swipe, which is called chasing. So you can chase the wire. I took my glasses off, so I'm not going to chase anything. I'm just going to do my best to hit it up and down. So this is hardening the wire. It's also making the wire separate, so I'm going to have to go back and close all of these loops. Spreading the middle. close it, close it. You can also close it with a flat edge tool. You can rock it back and forth. I'm going to have to open them again anyhow to link them. So I'm not going to close them as nicely, since just an economy of motion, since I'm going to have to do it again anyhow. So for right now, I'm just kind of straightening it out, making sure that they are satisfactory and that they're all on the same plane. So when you look at them from the side, you want all of your loops to be straight on the same plane. You can fix them up. Okay. Then reattach. At this point, I can angle it down when I close it. Oh, I have to make a couple more of these components. So excited. Now I can start thinking about, like, what kind of clasp do I want to make to end this? I wonder if I can come up with something that has, I think I can, with that same kind of double loop. All right, how long is this? 3 to 8, it's a little over 5 inches. Then I'll put a ring on each end. Looking good. So leaving a little tail end, that's going to be the wrapper. So you know what I'm thinking right now? I have this tail end of wire, and it's kind of a waste because I'm just going to cut it. So I'm going to make this one a triple wrap. And then I'll wrap the wire around all 3. What's nice about this is if you're making a bracelet and you need more weight on one side, weight meaning like the actual weight of the bracelet, you need it heavier on one side so that I'm gonna squish this down so that when you wear it, the clasp stays on the bottom. Then you can put heavier metal pieces on that side as ballast. So that works quite nicely. So this is to go in here. And pull it through. Ooh. There's enough wire. Just enough. I can turn it down and into my loop. I might not be able to. Then I'll just have to cut it. It might not be long enough to scoop underneath. Okay, that's okay. I'm just gonna cut it flush. I can kind of like burnish it. I might have to get a burnisher. Just make sure that it doesn't scratch me. And then I'll clip this one off. And now I have a 3-piece ring. If this was longer, that would have been better if it went on the inside. But this is my bracelet, so I'm okay with that. If I was selling it or giving it, then I would not use this piece on there. Okay. Ooh, that's nice. Maybe that would be a good ring to put the clasp into. Ooh, I'm gonna leave that on that side. Put that there. This is 18 gauge and I'm working in 16 gauge soft, so take this out. Normally you should clean your wire. Like take a polishing cloth and clean it before you start. But I have to admit, I did not do that last night or the night before. I just started. And if you want to know why you should clean your wire, let me know. Okay, so we'll leave that tail out. Come around. Notice I just leave the wire in the bag. Shamika, you're like, why? When you clean your wire, it makes it easier to work with, believe it or not, because when it's smoother, the jaws don't get stuck on the dirty wire. It just makes your loop making that much better. It's like working with a nice smooth surface. Sometimes I'm so eager to start my project, especially because I start so late at night. I'm like, oh my God, the last thing I'm doing is looking for my polishing cloth. I just like want to cut the wire and start. This is hell on my arthritis, but I love the look of it. So this is another reason why I haven't made a lot of these components. Because I think I can do usually like 2 a night. It's so humid in Hawaii. Our barometric pressure has been up too, so I notice it affects my joints. So it's only, I can do a few a day. Ooh, that one's nice. So I'm gonna cut this extra wire, cut my bag off, and make sure that I squeeze this down on the inside. Just the amount of pressure I'm using on this wire, it's a lot. Shamika, do you do any kind of wire work? I've been doing wire for 27 years. I love working with wire. It gives me so much joy. You've always wanted, oh, we have some wire videos, you know, on our YouTube. Check it out. Oh no, look, it is too short. So I underestimated. So even though this bracelet is probably like almost 7 inches, my wrist is a 6-incher, but the inner diameter of the bracelet, because these are bigger beads, they're like 12 millimeters. I think they're 12. Because they're a little larger, the inner diameter makes it fit tighter. So you do have to make your projects longer when that happens. What does that mean? That I have to put one more bead on. Yeah, if I put another ring and a bead, ring and a bead and a clasp. Ooh, that might be too long. So, you know what I'll do? I'll just put a ring on this side and a clasp. So let me make one more of those rings, and then I'll go and I'll make a clasp. And this will be the end, and Shamika can go to bed. So, leaving a little bit out, that's going to be so you can wind in two different directions. You can wind away from you, or you can wind down and under. So the other two times I made it, I wound underneath the first ring. This time I wasn't paying attention, so I'm just going to wind above it. So it's coming off of the ring. So this now has to turn up. And forward into there. You can tell my hands are getting tired. Can you see how that wire went off crooked? I wanted it to be a 90-degree angle. Fix that. Push it down, tightening it. Now, if it wasn't so late at night and if I was teaching it as a class, I would have told you make this one 3. So it'd be 3 on both sides at the ends, making this the heaviest part of your bracelet, so the clasp will stay on the bottom. Now, I was not thinking about that because I'm just wrestling with the wire right now. So I think a lot of times as a teacher too, whenever you're making something the first time, it's good to make it 10 times. Because with each time you make it, each iteration becomes even more practice, so that by the time you go and you share it with someone after the 10th time, the experience shows what works and what doesn't work, right? Like even this bracelet, I'm going to have to wear it a couple times before I know that I do like these rings. Is it going to catch my sweater? Is it going to pull a string out of a scarf, which sucks? All right, now that's perfect to add a clasp. You like stretchy bracelets? Me too. Me too. This was gonna be a stretchy bracelet. This project was supposed to be a stretchy bracelet, which is why I designed it on this disc. This disc is, how big is this one? I think it is 15 centimeters, which is about, it's great for my 6-inch wrist. So as long as I can fit all the beads here, when I string it up, I know it'll fit me. Pretty cool. Okay. Let's make a clasp. So my favorite polishing cloth is this one. It is made in Japan. It's a sunshine cloth. It takes off all the tarnish. Look at that. Okay. I wonder if I can make the clasp look like this with the wrapping portion. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start it the same way. I'm going to wrap it, and then with the extra long tail, I'll show you. It's a little bit easier if I just do it. So this loop I'm going to make is going to be the same as the other two. I don't know, it's kind of big for a clasp loop. Make it a little smaller. I'm going to make this loop a little. Will it work though if I make it smaller? Will it still fit? We just got to try and see. Okay, so I'm going to take it and I'm going to wrap 2 times. All right, now this part we're not going to cut off because that's going to be the clasp. This part is going to go inside that loop. Uh-oh. I'm going to have to You see this? It doesn't open up. So I need to get this on here before I wrap it shut. Oh my goodness. Let me see if I can do that. I might have to just, this is a trick. Okay, so I'm gonna have to put it on. I'm gonna have to straighten this wire first. Let's see. I'm not sure if I can do this. This has to curve. Okay, do you see how I'm getting that on there? I'm kind of like screwing it on there. Oh, okay, it's on. So I have my two links like wrapped into each other. It's almost like a magic trick. Now I have to get this. I have to get that inside there. How am I going to do that? Any suggestions? Okay. Get this back up. And this, yes, exactly like a key ring. Get this in here. It's almost like a little magic trick. How they're intertwined with each other. Oh no! I get this down. Maybe I made the loop too small. Nope, I think I got it. Okay. So. Okay, look at that. Now I have to turn this into a clasp somehow. Let's see. Okay, ta-da! That's amazing. I've never done that before. That was cool. Now I'm going to take this wire and I'm going to bring it forward like a clasp. I can fix the angle in just a little bit. This wire here, I just need to bring it down a little so it doesn't poke me. So when you're pushing the wire down and you want to get the pokey edges off, it's called burnishing. So you can use your tool as a burnisher by sliding it over. Really, it's like you're using it like a screwdriver to bring the wire down. Okay. Now I have my clasp here and I need a little loop at this end, or I can just hammer it out. Let's see. I think I want a loop. So I'm going to switch to my Lindstrom small rounds because I want a tiny loop. Pinch that to compress the wire. Can you see that? Made it all flat. So now I can turn a smaller loop. Isho. And crank this back just a little. Put it back on my wrap and tap and squeeze the shape down. Whew. All right. I hammer that out. Then I think I'm gonna go bed. I was gonna work on the website, but I have some new collections of light catchers that I wanted to put up. A video that I wanted to put up on TikTok. But that was a lot of work. Now I'm tired. So I have a clasp. My clasp is so cool because it is stuck. There's no way these two things are going to come apart. My eye pins. My jasper from Australia. My rings. And I just realized, you know how this is the triple ring? That was going to be the side my hook went into. So I added my clasp to the, no, I wouldn't call it the wrong side. That's the creative side. So if I wanted to, I can make a 3-ring on this side and take it off because it's only attached by an eye pin. But I think, Shamika, because I'm tired, I think I'm going to stop. And I can always do that tomorrow. Here's my bracelet. Thank you for joining me. You made it so much more fun to be here and to do this with. Beading with a friend is always so much fun. I hope you sleep well and you make something soon. Good night.